With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, banking with Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids.
Yep, even easier than that. And with our top-rated app, you can bank anytime, anywhere, making Capital One an even easier decision.
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
New consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, banking with Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids.
Yep, even easier than that. And with our top-rated app, you can bank anytime, anywhere, making Capital One an even easier decision.
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
New consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Hello, and welcome to the Hoop Ball DFS Today podcast. I am your host, Mike Apatra, joined by my good buddy Santino Cacone, here to break down this wonderful Wednesday, January 13th slate. We got 8 games to talk about. It was 10 at one point, right, Santino? It was 10, but that's unfortunately the times that we're in. We are dealing with some COVID health protocols, a lot of people sitting, a lot of injuries as well. But nonetheless, Santino, how are you doing on this wonderful night?
I'm doing pretty good. And yeah, if we had 10 to start, we're at 8. Could possibly be even 7 with this first game. I know the Mavs are traveling currently, but they do have an outbreak themselves, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They're traveling, but you need at least 8 to play is the rule. Most teams would love to have 9, preferably, at least. I'm sure they'd love to have their full bench, but it is what it is. So they're traveling there. They're obviously going to be with a lot of their major pieces. We will jump into that, but before we jump into anything, just a quick shout out to our presenting sponsors, mybookie.ag. Ever since I started this podcast, people have been asking me for betting tips. I always get asked, who do you got, the Lakers, the Clippers, Rodgers, Mahomes? Maybe it was yesterday, and you would have asked me whether it was Alabama or Ohio State. I would have probably told you Ohio State, and it would have been a good thing you didn't listen to me. I just like to root against Alabama. But I tell them the more important thing is not what you bet, it is where you bet. That's what I tell people, and I bet with MyBookie. MyBookie's reputation is rock solid, and they have the best odds, contests, promotions in the business. They're the only place I trust to handle my NBA-related bets, my NFL-related bets, even my college football bets. They're the one sports book guaranteed to give me the best lines for the national championship football game, and I did get those. And on every NFL playoff game. So we have those coming up, guys. We have NBA going on every single day. These lines, you can take advantage of them if you jump on them early. Again, follow the news, follow the trends, follow the injuries. People are getting ruled out last second. Jump on those lines before they change. You know me. I don't give my stamp of approval very easily. You got to earn it. And the best way you can do it is do what MyBookie did. They're the best sports book out there, period. It's simple. Sign up, enter the promo code HOOPBALL, HOOPBALL, and get your deposit matched halfway up to $1,000. Head over to MyBookie if you want to add a little excitement to your sports and you love the games you bet. Bet with the best. Bet with MyBookie. And then, guys, this one's personal. Check out Manscaped. And it doesn't just be guys. We got some lady listeners, and this would make an excellent gift for any of your significant others, or maybe just for a friend. You know what? No gender. Use it for yourself. Check out the Weed Whacker, guys. The nose and ear and hair trimmer. They have the Lawnmower 3.0. Both these products, absolutely fantastic. The body wash, you guys name it. They can get the perfect package kit, and you get all of it added up and comes to you at a little bit of a discounted price as well. Like I said, I've been loving the ear. I can never say it. The ear and nose hair trimmer. It's a premium weed whacker. It uses a 9,000 RPM motor powered at a 360-degree rotary dual-blade system. Its intelligently contoured design enhances the trimming experience, and it's waterproof, just like all of their products. 90-minute charge times on just about every single one of their products, and they're fast charging. Absolutely fantastic, guys. Check them out. Use that promo code HoopBall20. You get 20% off plus free shipping at Manscaped. That's hoopball20 for 20% off plus free shipping. All right, Santino, that was a mouthful, but we're going to jump into this, my good friend. Dallas versus Charlotte. I got it out, right? Dallas versus Charlotte. As far as injuries go, Charlotte's keeping it kind of calm. Just Cody Zeller out. Over on the Dallas side, Jalen Brunson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Maxi Kleber, Dwight Powell, Josh Richardson, all ruled out. And the surprise, Kristaps Porzingis is probable. He was expected to play in that last one before it got canceled. As far as spreads and totals, to be honest, I'm shocked they even gave us one. 221 game total. Dallas favored by 5, despite being with like 7 players plus Rick Carlisle, who might check in. So I'll pass it over to you, Santino. Why don't you start us off with Dallas?
Yeah, so for Dallas, you start and end almost always with Luka Doncic. 10-8, he is the highest priced guy on the slate. Interestingly, though, he's going to have his number one sidekick when Porzingis back. Outside of Doncic or Luka, that is always in play because his floor is just so safe. But I don't know who else I can trust really on this team. With Porzingis back, everybody in that front court that was already kind of jumbled, they're still going to be jumbled. I know Kleba's out and Powell's out. Finney-Smith's out. Most of them are out already. But I still don't know if I can trust James Johnson and Willie Cauley-Stein. Are they going to have significant roles, or how are they going to be playing with Porzingis? We haven't really seen that in a while because Willie Cauley-Stein was never really a part of the rotation for more than a handful of minutes last year, and James Johnson is new to the team. Outside of that, I mean, I guess I would take a slight look at Trey Burke because someone else has to score, and 4,900 is not a bad price tag. But Tim Hardaway is going to shoot too, and he's at 69, so I can't touch that. For me, it's Luka, and then if I need to, I'll try and look at Burke, but there's going to be better value on this slate.
Yeah, I'm with you on Luka. I mean, bottom line, like the dude's usage and points per minute status isn't high enough as it is. Take away like 7 options that would have been there rebounding the ball. Porzingis is back. We can't expect him to play more than 20 minutes, and I would even say that's probably high. Even with all this, going on, they'll have 8 players eligible. But with Porzingis being one of the 8, if that's the case, they might have 9. If he's one of the 8, though, I would just say that those 7 other guys are going to play even more minutes because I can't imagine in a world that they play Porzingis more than 20 minutes in his first game back from a meniscus surgery. So with that being said, I don't mind looking at James Johnson, Willie Cauley-Stein. James Johnson, a guy that I would love if Porzingis was out because he'd be locked into 30-plus minutes. He played significant minutes in that one game where we saw Kleber. We saw some of these other guys out. Played 26 minutes, put up 27 DK points. 12, 4, 3, and a block and a steal. We know he's always good for some defensive stats, not the most offensive guy. But they're going to run a little bit of a bigger front court with Charlotte, too. PJ Washington and Bismack Biyombo. So when we talk about, no Dwight Powell, no Kleber, no Dorian Finney-Smith, pretty much who are they going to run at power forward if they go big? And it's going to have to end up being Porzingis alongside of Cauley-Stein.
PJ Washington's only 6'7", though. I wouldn't call him a big front court. I don't know if I'd go there.
Well, is he 6'7"?
Yeah, he was technically a small forward before when they started last year, and then they just put him into the small ball forward.
Why do I feel like he was 6'9"? So maybe you're right. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I
did a long wingspan.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they could get away with some Tim Hardaway Jr. You might have just talked me out of it, but I was on to some James Johnson. And listen, I'm still probably not going to completely off of it just simply because Willie Cauley-Stein's, not that good at basketball to begin with. And I don't know. I think I can still get behind both these guys. I'm not completely off them. Obviously, Doncic is still the number one play. I don't think I'm going to chase necessarily with the Burke. He's going to get some usage. He's going to take some bench shots. That's going to happen. Went 11 of 13 in that last game. Do I want to chase it? Absolutely not. I think we're going to have some other options that are going to be on this slate that we could definitely look at. So he's there, but I'm still going to take a look at those at Willie Cauley-Stein and James Johnson. With Porzingis being limited, one of these guys, if not both, are going to have to play 26-plus minutes. There's no way that they can't. What do you think about Charlotte, though?
Yeah, Charlotte's similar now. There's only 3 guys I look at and be safe with on a given night. It's Gordon Hayward, LaMelo Ball, even though he just keeps climbing and climbing. This kid, he looks like he's going to keep playing more minutes, back-to-back games of 30 minutes in a row. I can get behind that. I'm not going to play both of them. I would play one of them, depending on which position I'm targeting more. And then PJ Washington's the 3rd guy I can trust on this team. Outside of that, it's pretty hit or miss. I mean, Biyombo might be is in a pretty good matchup here, but he doesn't play in minutes into the 30s. He kind of been topping out at upper 20s, if that. So I can't trust him either. I'll go back to the well with the same guys, Hayward, Ball, and PJ Washington. I won't get tons of shares of them. This is a good matchup, and I'll specifically target one of those top guys. I won't have both, like I said, but I'll have one of them I'll have one of those guys in a lot of my lineups.
I'm just looking at Ball, man. I mean, I don't mind Hayward. I just like Ball a little bit more for 600 less in this matchup. It just feels like it's going to be one of those Luka Ball triple doubles type games. This dude he's a stud for fantasy. For real life basketball, he's probably going to be a nuisance later on. But right now, he's getting it done, especially with rebounds, assists, all the peripheral stats. We're getting them on a nightly basis. So even when his shot's not falling, like we saw last game, 3 of 13, we still have that solid base floor, which is incredible. That's what we're looking for. And then the upside's there. If the shot does fall, if he does triple-double, it's going to be hard for him not to hit value at that. So with pretty much a riddled Dallas team, regardless of the score, this dude, if it blows out, he's still going to play. He's the one guy I'm never worried about in that blowout scenario. So I do like LaMelo. He's probably the one guy I'm looking at. Terry Rozier is another guy that, he's a good GPP play. I don't trust him as much in cash. He's either 25 or close to 40, and he's priced right in the middle of where he should be for that. So I don't mind looking at him in a GPP, but I prefer LaMelo. And that's probably it for me. I don't think I got to go anywhere else. We have some other games that we can look at. You ready to move on to the next one?
Yep.
All right, we got the Milwaukee Bucks traveling to Detroit, take on the Pistons. As far as the injury report goes for Detroit, Killian Hayes has been ruled out. Derrick Rose is probable. For the Bucks, Torrey Craig is out, and Bobby Portis is probable. As far as a game total, we have a 230 game total. Bucks favored by 10 in this one. Pass it over to you, Santino. On this Bucks team, we got some juiciness. They played Detroit, it feels like 6 times already this season. And it's only been going for 3 weeks. But, here they are, third matchup of the season. What are you looking at?
Yeah, so this is the third matchup within 8 days or so. They played them twice last week. And we had some hit or misses there. Giannis put up 61 and 41. We had a 40-point game from Drew. Not too much from Middleton. Very solid from Bobby Portis. We had a 40-point game in there. But they beat the Pistons twice by double digits both times. It was kind of competitive until it wasn't anymore. So it's just very hard to trust these guys in knowing that it's not going to be a total competitive environment. With that said, Giannis is still doing the same exact thing where every other game he gets over 30 minutes and and followed by under 20 or under 30. Last game he only got 27. So I think this is a 36-point or 36-minute game, and that possibly puts him in play. But I would just rather go back to Luka, knowing that it's much safer there for $200 more. Middleton and Holiday, I can't fully trust them because the blowout potential. But the one guy I can trust on this team is Bobby Portis, getting minutes in the mid to high 20s or low 30s in a blowout environment and a matchup that's good for him. I think he has a relatively safe floor of hitting value.
Bobby Portis has destroyed just butt teams all year. What he did to 35 against Chicago, 40 against Detroit in their second matchup, 21 in the first one. But like you said, that was the one that was a little bit more contested. But for the first few games, the Bucks were kind of sleeping. Don't forget about that. Put up against 42 against Cleveland. So, yeah, and the teams he struggled against, Orlando, pretty solid defense. Utah, pretty solid defense. Miami, pretty solid defense. So... not to mention, he dumped on Golden State, too, early on when they were trash as well. So, yeah, I'm with it. Bobby Portis in bad matchups is something I'm looking for. Anytime I think that Giannis or this game, Giannis is going to be limited to this game, could get to a blowout. That's when I want to look at Bobby Portis. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think I prefer Luka over Giannis. I do like some Bobby Portis. I wouldn't mind, taking a stab at a guy like DiVincenzo. He's just rock solid night in and night out. I don't love the price tag. Push comes to shove. Do I end up with any of them? Probably not, but... maybe you're doing like an early game slate or something like that, and you want to take a stab at somebody else. But that's it. So we'll move on to the Detroit side of the ball. I'll lead off here, Santino. Derrick Rose, probable. Jeremy Grant has to be the guy to talk about. He's really the one guy that has just been the model of consistency for this team. It's banging. It feels like 40 every single night. and it's pretty much regardless of score. At 7,900, I don't want to play him in this matchup. He's not a guy that I gravitate towards, but he's also a guy I can't rule out right now. So I'll lead off with Jeremy Grant. He's probably the one guy that I have some interest in. Maybe a little Josh Jackson at 4,500. Struggled to get it going since that ankle injury. Still looks like he's being limited slightly. Past 3 games have been under 20 minutes, but I imagine his minutes start to creep back over 20 once he starts to get right. So it's kind of just trying to guess and hope that it's the right game. But what are you looking at for Detroit?
Yeah, Grant is just the model of consistency right now. Outside of the first game of the season, he has yet to play under 34 minutes. So you're going to this guy's going to be on the court pretty much as possible. And then that first game, he played 31 minutes. So it's not like he was ever under 30 or anything there, but you're getting at least 34 minutes from the guy. He's putting up 40 points on a consistent basis. Not huge upside after that, but I mean that's what you're paying for. If you're paying 7,900, I expect at least 40, and he's becoming one of the most safest players to hit you at least 5x value every night, which is crazy to think about. But outside of him, yeah, I'm looking at Josh Jackson, but I do want to check out the report on that and see if he's getting back to rhythm, because he has played single or in the minutes in the teens the last 3 games. It looks like Sadiq Bey is playing a lot more minutes than him at his position. I want to see if that trend continues, or if Jackson was just limited and going and trying to gut it out there, or it's just the changing of the guard. So that's big news that I want to keep on. Outside of them, I'll maybe take a stab at DeLone Wright, just because he has back-to-back games with 30-plus minutes, and anytime he does that, he's pretty good. And 5,000 is not a bad price tag for him, knowing that he should be bringing back value if he gets 30-plus minutes like that. And without Killian Hayes there, him and Rose are really the guys at point guard. I know they have Frank Jackson and Saban Lee, but they're really just end-of-bench guys that they play in a pinch if they have to.
Oh, don't sleep on my boy Frankie Jackson, man. He's going to be creeping up in there eventually. I wouldn't be shocked if eventually Frank Jackson's playing 24-plus minutes. Book it. It's not going to be anytime soon, but it's going to happen. I'm feeling it. So I'm kind of with you on that same sentiment. We'll move on to the next one. Brooklyn versus New York, the Battle of New York, the Battle of Boroughs. Let's go. So Brooklyn in this game right now, game total is 218.5. Brooklyn being favored by 5 points. As far as injuries, Brooklyn has yet to release theirs. They are playing tonight. Kyrie Irving, though, we know is out, and it would be kind of shocking if Durant played on the second night of a back-to-back. Dealing with everything, you got something that we have to monitor, nonetheless. As far as New York is concerned, we do have theirs, though. Reggie Bullock is doubtful. Alec Burks still out, as well as Frank Ntilikina and Obi Toppin, and Taj Gibson. He's available. He made it through this health and safety protocol, so this is going to be tough.
Tibbs' favorite.
How do you
Tibbs' favorite player of all time is ready to play again.
So what happens now, dude? Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle just get their minutes chopped in half so that
really was
Taj
a weird
play 30.
It was crazy when they actually released him in the offseason anyway. This is Tibbs' guy. I did not expect that to happen, but he immediately said, "Yeah, we need to bring him back. We need to get this guy back."
He wasn't sleeping.
Get rid of that bad contract that he was signed to originally and bring him back on a team-friendly, minimum value veteran contract.
Oh, Tibbs is over his house every year for Thanksgiving. Book it. He's there. He's at that dinner table.
They're best friends. And Noah's always over there probably too, just coming in right behind him.
He's just going to be on the coaching staff soon enough. But we'll start off with this Brooklyn team. Kevin Durant's coming in at 9,400. I think if we know he's playing and he'd play a full workload, he'd be a fantastic play. But the major worry that we have with him is obvious that it's a back-to-back. He's playing well, and tonight, and the game's fairly intact. So we have to monitor it. So if Durant, I'm kind of leaning more towards that Durant's going to be out. Santino, where are you at with that?
Yeah, I'm going to lean that he's probably going to be out for this, just because it is the second night of back-to-back. But same time, we've seen Kawhi play back-to-backs. We've seen Embiid play multiple back-to-backs. LeBron James has yet to rest, even though all the whispers were saying he was going to rest. So this season has proven to be very difficult to navigate to who's actually going to rest on the back-to-backs. But Durant did rest on the first back-to-back that they had. I would expect him to rest in this one. And if he does, we know right where it's going. Karis LeVert, Joe Harris, I love both their price tags. I know they already bumped Karis LeVert up to 8K in the preparation and the anticipation that Durant is not going to play. And then that still leaves a lot of room for upside when both those guys aren't there. And Joe Harris becomes the secondary guy for me if he's not playing. If Durant does play, until he's 10K, he's always going to be in play for me because he's like this. He didn't miss a beat. He has not missed one beat since that injury, so he'd be in play for me. And the two guys I just mentioned, I don't like playing people against the Knicks. Tom Thibodeau likes to slow the pace down, just punch you in the mouth, play some hard-nosed defense, typical Tibbs style of play, so I don't want to get too much exposure on the Nets if Durant plays.
Have a BLT the Carl's Jr. way for just $2.99 with charbroiled beef, creamy ranch, and more beef. The new BLT Ranch Double Cheeseburger for just $2.99. Part of charbroiled double deals at Carl's Jr. Feed your happy. Offer valid for limited time at participating Carl's Jr. restaurants. Price and participation may vary. Tax not included. Have a BLT the Carl's Jr. way for just $2.99 with charbroiled beef, creamy ranch, and more beef. The new BLT Ranch Double Cheeseburger for just $2.99. Part of charbroiled double deals at Carl's Jr. Feed your happy. Offer valid for limited time at participating Carl's Jr. restaurants. Price and participation may vary. Tax not included.
Yeah, no, Karis LeVert is still underpriced at 8K if Durant sits. This is bottom line. Like you said, you said it perfectly. The pace isn't what we want to see. It's not perfect, but LeVert could pretty much be looking at 35 to 50 anytime that he is the primary facilitator and the high usage guy on this team. Harris should be second fiddle, so 5,500. I don't mind him. Another guy I'm looking at is Jared Allen. I'm going to continue to play him. Whether it's cash or GPP, he just feels rock solid and safe. He's been hitting that 30 mark every single game, and we know he has that 50 to 40 plus upside written all over him. So New York plays big. They have Randall. They have Mitchell Robinson. They take Noel off the bench. Taj Gibson is going to play 26 minutes most likely. No, that's kind of a joke. I wouldn't rule it out with Tibbs, but I'm not going to bet on that. So don't play Taj Gibson in DFS, but. That's kind of my take with this. So I don't mind some Jared Allen. I don't mind the other two main components on the offense. If you want to take a stab at a guy like Prince or Jeff Green or Cabarrot, sure, those guys will see increased minutes. They will get usage. So we'll play a little bit. But it's really a dart throw between those three guys to sit here and tell you which guy is going to be the better one in this matchup. It's tough. None of them are going to probably take more than 6 to 8 shots, and unless rebounds fall their way, it's really tough. If I had to bet on one, it would probably be TLC, but I don't feel great about any of the three. What about this New York side of the ball, though, Santino? So I jinxed Julius Randle. I'm glad I could do it. I'm sorry I did that to everybody. It's the only time I played Julius Randle all season was on that last slate. And, he ate dirt. He did that. So it left a sour taste in my mouth. But we also got a $500 discount in what looks to be a fantastic matchup. I can't believe I might be maybe I'm just like the anti-Julius Randle guy. So if I'm actually thinking about playing him, maybe that's a sign of something. I don't know. But nonetheless, I think he's definitely in play, I think, at 9,100. It's hard not to like him at this matchup against Brooklyn.
Yeah, I like him too. And I don't play him often. When I do, it's like that commercial. I don't drink often, but when I do, I drink, I forgot what it was, the most interesting man. But
you better think of the name of the beer. I'm going to give you until maybe at the end of the podcast. I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, well, I'm not thinking about that right now. I'm trying to think about Julius Randle. And yes, I think 9,100, this is a fantastic matchup for him. I'm going to have my shares of him just because, but he's still Julius Randle. When I see other names, I don't expect the triple-double type of Julius Randle that we are getting this year, which is absolutely insane. But he's playing over his head, and this is a good matchup for him, especially if Durant does not play. He's going to have free reign. Outside of him, I like the Knicks. I like to play. There's some good guys on the Knicks. You mentioned Jared Allen. I want him to go the opposite direction in this one. I like Mitchell Robinson better in this matchup. At 5,800, I don't think Jared Allen's that good of a defender. Mitch Robinson fouls a lot too, but I think 5,800, that's a really good price tag for him. So I will definitely get some shares of him. Elfrid Payton keeps screaming at me saying, play me, but I just don't like him at that 6'6". I think there's better options there. There's really everybody else is kind of hit or miss, and there's this team is deeper than you'd think just with all these names out there. But for me, I think it's the front court guys, and then everybody else is secondary.
Yeah, I don't mind playing some Robinson. I think he's at a very good price tag. Him and Jared Allen are kind of like the Spider-Man meme. They're very similar guys, rebound, block guys.
Dude, how many times are you going to use this joke?
it doesn't get old. If you've been listening to these shows for a while, I use a lot of recycled material, and that's because we call those classics after a while. That's what it turns into. It ends up being vintage. So that's what I'm going for over here, Santino. I'm sorry you don't understand. Some good humor once in a while.
It's funny, but when you say it every podcast we're on, it's like, okay, I get it, I get it.
You guys see, the problem is I got to deal with them off air too. So you just keep it moving. But yeah, I'm with you. Mitchell Robinson, 5,800, solid price tag. I don't think I'll play Payton at 66. He does have some upside. Obviously, we know that this dude can triple double. He does it with the rebounds. He does it with the assists. He can do it with the steals. It's a good matchup and all, but I just don't think I'm going to go to him at that price tag. I'm with you. I'd rather see him at like that, 6'1", 6'2". Then I can jump on board. Not playing Rivers at 53 either. Just not loving the usage. He doesn't really do much outside of scoring on this team because Julius Randle soaks up everything else. So we'll keep it moving. Next game, Memphis traveling to Minnesota, take on the Timberwolves. 219 game total. Minnesota being favored by 1 point in this one. As far as injuries, Jaren Jackson Jr., John Morant, Jonte Porter, Killian Tilly, Justice Winslow all out for the Grizzlies. John Conchar is questionable. He's dealing with an ankle injury. For the Timberwolves, just a Koji, questionable. And Karl Anthony Towns is questionable. He sat out that last game, but it was also the second half of a back-to-back. But that's something worth monitoring. We all just kind of assumed that it was the second half of a back-to-back, but the fact that he's questionable on the injury report going in is definitely worth noting. So, Santino, I'll pass it over to you for this Memphis side of the ball. Break it down for me.
And looking at this Memphis team, man, if John Morant was playing and Jaren Jackson at 73 and 68 in this type of matchup, dude, they'd be in every single lineup. That's just, wow. Unfortunately, we will not be seeing them for another week or couple more after that. But looking at this here, I love playing people against the Wolves. It's just a fast-paced matchup, especially if Towns doesn't play. Then you're going to be playing against a just ragtag team of front court guys. Towns isn't the greatest defender himself, but it's just below par without Towns. But here we're looking similar people. Brandon Clark at 5,800. He's starting to play more. He played 30 minutes or more in the last 3 games. He hasn't been rebounding greatly or getting a ton of the stocks that we've come accustomed to last year and in college. But he's scoring the ball pretty efficiently. He's taking double-digit shots pretty much every game. He's getting the start, so I like that. He's a guy that I'm going to look for in this matchup early and often. I think he's going to take advantage of whoever they start at power forward. No one really is his size. Wancho is too small for him. Vanderbilt is too small for him. Maybe they try and throw Naz Reid. Whatever they try and do, I think Brandon Clark has the advantage there. And that's pretty much where I'm going here. I'll probably have a few shares of some of these guys, but I don't like how they're all in the 6K range because I think we have some better options out there. But D'Anthony Melton is a guy I continue to look at. He's not getting the minutes right now, but if he can creep up to 25, 26 minutes, then we're cooking with gas with that guy because he can easily bring you back 25 points and get you value now, and that's within an 18 to 21-minute roll.
Yeah, I don't know why this guy's not playing more. I thought maybe they're getting him warmed up, this and that. The fact that they only played 18 minutes in that last game was a little shocking for me. It's been at least 4 games for him now. So if you're going to play him, he's clearly one of the best guards on the team. He's better than Tyus Jones. There's no doubt about it. He should be starting over Tyus Jones. But at the very least, slide Brooks up to the 3, play him at the shooting guard. However you want to do it. This guy should be playing more. I'm with you, though. It's going to be the front court for me. It's going to be Jonas Valanciunas. I don't mind looking at him at 6,900. The price is creeping down now under that 7K mark, so now I really can consider Jonas. The minutes haven't been there necessarily, but talk about model consistency. We pretty much know what we're getting from him. Outside that one game at Brooklyn where he played 14 minutes, we're getting pretty much a double-double with a block or 2 here, a steal or 2 here, every single game, somewhere between 30 and 40 points. So I don't mind looking at Jonas, and I don't mind looking at Brandon Clark at 5,800 as well. Like you said, I don't really know who's going to guard him, and the minutes he's playing well with them. That's the thing with Brandon Clark. If he's going to continue to play well, they're going to continue to give him minutes. But we'll slide over to this Minnesota side of things. Karl Anthony Towns, I'm kind of expecting him to play, Santino. I don't know about you. I don't think that he's necessarily questionable because it started getting sore after the game or anything. I just think he's questionable because he's still dealing with the injury. Nonetheless, 9,800, I'll take a pass just knowing that he's dealing with the injury. He didn't look like he was really bothered by it necessarily in that last one. He still shot 9 and 17, put up 54 DK points. But we talked about Luka. We talked about some other high-priced guys. He's still a fantastic option. Just don't know if I will have any shares of him. But I'll pass it over to you for some of these other guys. Why don't you break down Minnesota?
Yeah, I'm with you in Towns. Obviously, one of the best players in the league. Just not too sure. I think it seemed to me that he came back quicker than I thought he would have came back with the wrist injury. Same wrist that he hurt last year and missed a significant amount of time. And then we went into the offseason and he just wasn't healthy anyway. So that's something to keep an eye on. Outside of him, it depends if he plays or not, honestly. If he plays, he's going to get funneled a lot of the usage that I like. A guy like Malik Beasley, who's still in play for me a little bit. D'Angelo Russell at 81, I can't go to him if Towns is playing, but if he's not playing, I know he's still going to get the main shots and he'll have more usage just there. He'll be able to control the offense a little bit more. But I guess Towns not playing would just the people that I gravitate towards two more. I mean, Beasley to me is in play for the most part, regardless. But if Towns is not playing, then you can look at the guys like Juancho and Vanderbilt. Not necessarily Naz Reid, even though now he's creeping down to 5K. But I think Vanderbilt kind of took his thunder with that. And for $800 cheaper, I'd lean over there. But this team is good. It's just there's so many bodies here. Everybody's pitching in a little bit. And they usually need Towns, and Towns eats first, second, and third on this team.
Yeah, I mean, outside of Towns, before he got hurt, Vanderbilt's been the best man in the front court on this team. He should have more of a role going forward. Naz Reid, he's not in play for me just because even if he does get the minutes, he's going to get into foul trouble and get those minutes yanked away very, very quickly. I'm with you. If Towns is out, Russell's in play, Beasley's in play, both those guys. I don't think they're bad plays. I think they're actually pretty good plays. I just don't like the price tag on Beasley at $6,700. I'd like it to be a little bit cheaper. I liked him when he was in that 6'1", 6'2" range. Russell at 81, I think that's priced appropriately. If Towns is out, it's maybe a little underpriced, but even then, he should probably be in the high sevens range more often than not because he is a little bit volatile. Not the safest guy for cash, I would say. That's it. I don't mind if you wanted to go to guys like Hernan Gomez. Vanderbilt's a little bit of a question mark. If we hear that Towns is out and if he's inside in the starting lineup or whatever it may be, you can play him, but otherwise, he's a guy that I like to target, kind of like in a Bobby Portis scenario when I think it's going to be a blowout, and then he might end up getting some more minutes or something like that. But until we hear something in the news that he's going to be playing more, he's getting in extra minutes, he's in the starting lineup, he's really hard to trust in like a 15 to 16 minute role for me at the very least. But so that's it. Not as much as I like this matchup, I want to have more in it, Sonny. I really do. But I just don't love the price tags of a lot of these guys. I just don't love a lot of their spots. The usage is in weird spots. So I just don't see myself having a whole lot of shares in this. Maybe one or two, but that's probably it for me. What about this Laker game, though? We're going to move on to it. So this is your team, man. So I'm expecting some good stuff on you. Maybe you have some insight because I'm bugged out right now. This is probably one of the first times I've ever signed on to DraftKings. I've clicked on the game. I'm looking at the Lakers, and I don't see a questionable tag next to LeBron or Davis. I'm assuming that's just because they played tonight. They'll probably put them right back tomorrow.
Oh, 100%. They played tonight, so their injury report is not updated.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll end up getting those Q tags next to them. We're not out of the clear yet. So obviously there is no game total or spread for this game yet. It is going on right now for the Lakers, so they're not going to release anything on that.
I guess it's going. It's a blowout. So
yeah,
whatever. If you want to call that going on,
it's going on. It's something's happening. Yeah, people are watching it. Maybe somewhat still. But nonetheless, there's no injury report released for either team because they played the wonderful Thunder. The Thunder played tonight as well. So we'll start off with this Lakers team. Pass it over to you, Santino. This is your squad. First time, I think, in a while that we've seen both, LeBron and Davis, like you said, without questionable tags for now. But they're both under 10K. Davis at 9K, too. It feels like we're getting good price tags.
Yeah, and we are getting good price tags. And honestly, if you're expecting, it's very hard for me to play them. The upside is just not there right now. Even at 96 and 9K, the upside to get 60 points or plus when you play a guy like this, a high-priced guy, what you're hoping for, it's just not there. But comparatively with other 9K guys, they're safe for 40. But if you're expecting a pop-off comparatively to that, then I think you're barking up the wrong tree right now. But eventually these guys are going to continue to get priced down ever so slightly, and then they're going to take off. Right now they're still the best team in the league, and they're kind of coasting. They're playing around 31 minutes, if that, and they're just dominating teams. And I expect another repeat performance against this Thunder team, who on the second half of the back-to-back, maybe Al Horford doesn't play, maybe George Hill doesn't play like they said they probably would try to. And whether this game is on TV or not, there is ways around it. You could just say, "Ooh, I woke up and my groin wasn't feeling good." And you don't have to put them at rest. Maybe that's something that's real. It's not something that could definitely keep them out of the game, but it's something that doesn't get them fined. So for me, I just can't go with LeBron and AD in this game, knowing that this could turn into a blowout. With that said, Montrezl Harrell, 5,600, not a bad play for me. They did just bump Kyle Kuzma back up a little bit, but maybe this is a Talen Horton-Tucker type of game. At 4K, I don't mind that, but it's just not the safest environment here. They're kind of like the Suns, where everybody's priced appropriately, and they're just crushing teams right now.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be shocked if we do see, and I'm almost fully anticipating that one of LeBron or Davis sits. I just, that's why they've been giving these guys the questionable tags all year long, is so when these back-to-backs show up, they could sit them on the second half if they want to and not get fined. Like you said, we woke up and it was sore today. I mean, what do you mean? The guy's been questionable all season long with an ankle injury. So I wouldn't be shocked if we do see one of these guys sit. And if that's the case, between Kuzma, Harrell, and Schroeder, they all become fantastic plays, as well as the other being, if Davis sits, LeBron's a good play. If LeBron sits, Davis is a good play. So, but mostly I'm on those. Those are the only guys I'm looking at. I don't mind Talen Horton-Tucker if you want to take a stab at him at 4K. Wesley Matthews did sit out tonight. He'll probably, he might. I would anticipate he sits out the second half of the back-to-back. He's dealing with the Achilles soreness. A guy that had once tore his Achilles. Keep that in mind. Jared Dudley, another guy that sat out. But why are we talking about Jared Dudley? Still, I got to give that guy credit. He just happens to mooch. He just latched on. He's just one of those veteran guys in the locker room that coaches up the young guys and gets rings for it. So kudos to him, taking the Udonis Haslem approach. But that's it, man. I don't know. That's all I got. I'm not playing Gasol, not playing Pope, or none of those other guys.
I don't think LeBron sits. I'm in the camp that LeBron's not going to miss.
It's been Davis. Been Davis that's been sitting. I think on when we ever see one of these guys sit, it's Davis.
I could see Davis sitting, but Bron is cut from a different cloth, man. He's not going to sit unless he's hurt or it's late in the season where they already locked up the number 1 seed. I know that was the whole storyline in the offseason. People are saying, he's going to take it. He's taking it slow, but he's not going to miss games. That's just not what he does unless he's hurt.
Yeah, and you might be right. You very well might be right. And if it is Davis that sits, Markief Morris would also come into play at 3,300. Frank Vogel has talked about Markief Morris several times to the media and kind of mentioned that this guy's been fantastic, and he's going to try to look for spots to get him more minutes. It's kind of why we saw him in that last game starting instead of Kuzma. He said Markief has kind of earned some more minutes, so he wanted to get him out there. So don't be shocked if we see Davis sit. If he's inserted back into that starting lineup, or at least playing 20-plus minutes in that matchup. But another guy that we'll mention, I guess, real quick before we bounce over to OKC. So OKC, Santino, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA. This dude's been balling out. Outside of tonight, I haven't completely checked and seen what's been going on in that game. You're saying, I think he was doing good. I could have been mistaken. He was having a solid game. I saw him at halftime. But nonetheless, outside of tonight, whatever's going on tonight, we're recording this the night before, 3 straight games of 50-plus DK points, playing at least 34 minutes in all those games, high volume, high usage. And he's getting it done, man. He's looking like the guy that we thought he was going to be coming into the year, and now we're feeling like he's also at a fair price tag. 7,700, he's got to be the guy that we have to lead with. What do you think about him?
So, yeah, tonight he had 20 points, 9 boards, and just 2 assists. He was getting the Murray factor on the Spurs side, so that's the only thing that gave me slight pause with him. But, yeah, this is a little bit better of matchup. The Lakers are still really good at guarding against the point guard. They were last year. They lost Rondo. They got Schroeder, who's, as LeBron likes to call him, a dog. So I don't think it's a fantastic matchup for him, but the possibility that the Lakers just start blowing him out, SGA is still going to play. He's still going to get his minutes, whether it's a blowout or not. And especially if it's a blowout, they're going to the Lakers are going to relax on or play a little more relaxed defense and have their backups in. So I don't hate him here. And at 77, you got a slight discount on him from the other game or last game when he was just 8K and he was past 8K. So I'll give him a look, but he won't fully be locked into all of my lineups here. Honestly, outside of him, it's similar situation because it might be a blowout territory. But I want to check the injury report first because this is the second night of a back-to-back. If they're doing what they didn't actually officially say that they're going to rest Horford and George Hill every back-to-back, but it was kind of something that was heavily speculated after they missed that first back-to-back, and they are veterans, and they're probably going to try and trade them for something at the trade deadline if they can. So in that scenario, if Horford sits, then you would plug in either Isaiah Roby or Mike Muscala. I think Isaiah Roby has more upside here, and they're pretty much the same price, but that's where I would go. And if George Hill sits, you're probably going to plug right in Diallo at the shooting guard spot, and he gets more of a boost there with the extra minutes too. You'll see Justin Jackson get more minutes, but he's not someone I would play. It would probably funnel to those two guys that I just mentioned who would slot into the starter role and get a minimum of about 10 extra minutes, which is huge to get on cheaper valued guys. So that's where I'd be looking at outside of SGA.
Yeah, I love the Roby call. That's the guy I'd immediately go towards, and I'd imagine he'd be pretty chalky if we get the news early enough that Horford's out. We've already seen this guy. He's a great point per minute guy. He plays very well when he's given minutes. He only needs 24, not even. Give him 19, 20, and he'll get us where we need to at his price tag. So I'll be all over him if we see that Horford's out. With Hill, yeah, I do think Diallo would obviously get a massive boost. I don't love the price tag at 5,100. I don't hate it. I'm very in between on it right now. I don't know how I quite feel about it. I'm probably going to have to wait for them to see how that one boils down. It might come down to construction. Do like that he's small forward eligible, so that helps. And then outside of that, Bazley's always a tournament guy I look at. He's very hot and cold. You're either getting 18 to 20 or you're getting like 35 to 40. And nonetheless, he's 5,900. That gives us a little cushion. Not the best matchup for him. Nonetheless,
it could be. It could be a decent matchup if AD doesn't play. If AD plays, even a 60% trying AD.
Yeah, it's not great.
I don't want I don't want him.
No, exactly. It's not great. But I get tantalized with that price tag because he's a guy that, we wouldn't be shocked if at one point he's priced at around 7K because he could string together 3 to 4, 35 to 40 point games, DK point games in a row. So he has that sort of upside. So I'm definitely going to keep in my pool as far as GPPs. Definitely not safe as far as cash, but that's it for me for OKC. Don't mind a little SGA. I know you say that the Lakers are very good against point guards. I'm not saying you say like it's not true. They are. But I found some success targeting point guards against the Lakers for some time. And that was with last year being Rondo and them. And I don't think they necessarily upgraded with Schroeder on the defensive end. Schroeder is, I guess, a dog. Don't get me wrong. He could be one of those guys that's kind of like a fly on you. But I'm not necessarily scared off either. Like you said, SGA should still play some decent minutes. So it's SGA. It's a little bit of Bazley in tournaments. Still a little skeptical on Diallo. And then I'll play some Roby if we hear that Horford is out. But we'll move on to the next game. Atlanta traveling to Phoenix. Take on the Suns. For the injury report, Atlanta Bogdanovich, Chris Dunn, Gallinari, all ruled out. Clint Capella is being considered questionable. And Onyeka Okongwu is probable. So we have that little upgrade. And eat that, Brenton. Practiced that one a few times before we started this. Call me out last show. And then, Rondo is also questionable. And as far as the game total is concerned, we have a 230 game total. It is one of the higher ones on the slate, tied for second highest at the moment with Detroit-Milwaukee. Next highest will be in the next game. And Phoenix is being favored by 5.5 points in this one. So Phoenix coming off of a game where they just got smoked by the Wizards. We called blowout, man, but we didn't think it was going to be on that end. When we saw that, Westbrook was sitting, Thomas Bryant injury, this one's going to be a wrap. Phoenix been playing great defense. They're going to steamroll them, but it didn't happen. They got steamrolled. So I'll pass it over to you to Atlanta. Do they keep the steamroll going, or do they kind of crumble against this Phoenix Suns team?
I think it's going to be a decent game, but Clint Capella news is pretty big here. Is he going to play or is he not going to play? That's something that I'm going to be keen on, because if he doesn't play, that changes up a lot of things. Maybe we see Okongwu get some minutes right out of the gate. Maybe we probably see John Collins dropped to the 4. Collins dropped to the 5. Hunter dropped to the 4. Play both Reddish and Huerter for a lot of minutes. More of Solomon Hill. So that's going to be pretty big, knowing that Gallo and Bogdanovich, Rondo, Chris Dunn, all these guys that they grabbed on the offseason are not available, especially if Capella doesn't play. But if he does play, trying to change things, I don't know what to make of Trae Young right now. After hearing of that fight with John Collins, he just hasn't been as assertive. He shot 19 times the last 2 games, but he hasn't made a couple. I saw a stat on him that he's shooting about 26% on open threes. That's definitely, he's due for some very positive progression there. But this is not a great matchup in general against this Suns team that is one of the top 5 defensive rated teams in the league and plays at the slowest bottom 3 in pace. So they just slow it down and play really good defense. So I'm not actively going to target anybody on this Hawks team. If Capella misses, maybe I'll jump in and grab some value there. But if he plays, I don't like anybody in this matchup. Same thing on the other side.
All right. Well, that's pretty simple. So I'll just run through it very quickly. I don't mind looking at Trae Young. Like you said, I don't love the matchup, but I do love the price at 8,900. The fact that this dude's under 9K. He only played 25 minutes at that last one, but the game got out of hand pretty quickly. Put up 45 DK points in only 25 minutes. He's still dealing with a little bit of wrist injury. Last Saturday, he did not take part in contact practice. It was non-contact for him. Played the next game, so it's definitely still bothering him slightly. It's definitely worth monitoring. It's not the best matchup, but that's still a fantastic price tag for him. Collins, I was all over him in that last game. I was expecting big things. I got burned pretty heavily on him. I had him in about 50% of my lineups. I was so overweight on him. Game got out of hand. I expected it to be a little bit closer, given the fact that, like I said, Atlanta was dealing with their own injuries, including Trae Young, but nonetheless, he's due to break out in one of these games. It's going to be this one. I don't know. I like the price tag. I'm just not going to go back to the well in this one. It wouldn't shock me if he goes buck wild, though. Other than that, it might be a little Cam. It might be a little Huerter, especially if Capella gets ruled out. I think exactly what you said would happen. We'd see Hunter at the 4. So I wouldn't mind looking at one of those wing guys. Both these guys are going to have to step up. Bogdanovich now out for at least a month or 2 with that fractured knee. So both these guys have some decent upside, but they're both kind of priced appropriately. I'd probably lean more Reddish just because he's better defensively, and he might find himself on the court come time, crunch time minutes. So got your take on the Phoenix side. You said you're pretty much not playing anybody, which I can't blame you.
It's the same thing every time. I think they're very priced accordingly. They play team basketball. They slow the pace down, and they play really good defense except for that last game. So it's just I'm not too huge on anybody here. Campaign, maybe if he misses, you can look towards Carter, but that's just pushing it.
Yeah, and I like Carter. I actually think Carter's actually a guy. I don't like him in this slate. I just like him as a player. That's what I was getting at. He could play both point and shooting guard for him. So he's a guy that they originally had as the backup shooting guard. That's why Campaign had the first crack, and he was playing really well this season because he's playing primarily backup point guard. So I do think that, in a blowout type scenario, he'd be a guy that would probably play 23, 24 minutes. But you're right. These guys are priced accordingly. They slow the pace. It's tantalizing. We want to play a bunch of guys going against Atlanta because, that's something that we're used to. That's what we're used to. We're used to doing it. You think of the players. Okay, Chris Paul. He's not a guy that's, going to sit there and, take advantage of the matchup. He's going to facilitate like he does. He's going to have maybe 10, 11 shot attempts. He'll get his double-digit assists. He'll take home, 35, 40 DK points. We'll be happy with that. At 7,200, that's fine. I don't mind it for cash. I don't think he's a terrible tournament play, but I just don't think I'll end up landing on him. Ayton, he looks like a slug. Bottom line, this dude does not look like he is the first overall pick. I'm not saying he's a bust. He's just solid. He's not, a spectacle. He's not
He's playing his spot fine. He's grabbing down rebounds at a very high clip, one of the highest in the league. He's just not getting the shot attempts that you would expect from him. This team's just spreading out the ball, spreading out the shot attempts, and he's taking what I believe in the last 4 games, he only has 2 double-digit shot attempts, and they were both at 10. So, his highest shots on the year are 13. He's just not getting the usage that you'd expect.
Yeah, that's a fair point. You can't argue with that. This is also a guy that he kind of, like what I'm saying, sluggish. I mean, defensively. He has very, very slow feet. This guy's drawn 5 fouls on him in 4 games already this season, and it's only been 3 weeks. And not saying he's necessarily a guy that's going to get into foul trouble every single game, but there's definitely something that he's lacking. That being said, the team's playing great defensive all around, and I think a lot of it has to do with, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, these guys being multi-position eligible for them, being able to just slot these guys anywhere, throw them on multiple defenders. These guys have been lights out for him. There was rumblings that there might be a change to the starting lineup. So that's worth noting. And if there's one person that is going to get removed, it would probably be Jay Crowder. And if I had to imagine who that's for, it would probably be Dario Saric or Cam Johnson. So keep an eye on those two guys. If we do hear that one of those guys are inserted to the starting lineup, it might be Saric in this lineup. If Capella and Collins are both playing and they're going big, I think we can take a look at those two guys. And that's pretty much all I'm looking at. I'm going to kind of monitor that news and see if that does actually, in fact, happen. And if it does, I'll take advantage of it with one of those two guys. Move on, though. 2 games left. Before we jump into these final 2 games, just a quick shout-out. Stop what you're doing, pause the show. We have an announcement. It's a fun one, and it's free stuff. And everybody loves free stuff. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what's the stuff? It's the Bruise Letter. It's back. It's fresh, and it's for the 2021 NBA season. Our founder, Aaron Bruski, is writing an email newsletter filled with his most intimate fantasy nuggets. It's exclusive content you cannot find anywhere else. It's not on the website. It is not on the podcast. It's not on social media. It's only in an email newsletter. And you can sign up for it for free if you go to bit.ly/BruiseLetter2021 and sign up in just 10 seconds. Again, the site is bit.ly/BruiseLetter2021. You get Aaron Bruski straight into your inbox. And while you're at it, guys, go check out the Fantasy Pass. This thing is absolutely fantastic. You guys probably already took advantage. If you listen to this podcast and you haven't gotten the Bruski, the preseason special over there, the Bruski 130 or 150, you missed out. But nonetheless, the Fantasy Pass helps you out for all season long goodness. You can sign up. It is the best deal in the industry. And when you get the entire Fantasy Pass, you don't just get the season long stuff. You get a little action to DFS. You get a little action into wager. You can lump it all in. And what you're asking, what you're wondering, what does that include? Yes, the podcasts are free, but we do so much more behind the podcast. We have a Discord. We have daily articles coming out for each and every little division, whether it's wagering, DFS, and for the season-long stuff. And we have more stuff in the works and coming. So go check out that Fantasy Pass, guys. Go to hoop-ball.com. Click on the Fantasy Pass just below the main media wall and check it out. It is worth it. I promise you. It will elevate your game to the next level. So we have 2 games left. New Orleans Pelicans traveling to LA to take on the Clippers. This one coming in 221 game total. Clippers favored by 6.5 points. As far as injuries, Zubac is questionable for this one. And for the Pelicans, Lonzo Ball has already been ruled out. Eric Bledsoe is questionable, dealing with eye irritation, and J.J. Redick is probable. So we'll start with the Pelicans, the away team. Santino, take it over.
Yeah, so obviously when you start with the away team, we see Lonzo Ball not playing. Yeah, that's the knee injury is kind of big. And what if Eric Bledsoe doesn't play as well? If Eric Bledsoe plays, pretty solid matchup at 5,800 without Lonzo Ball. He's going to be the primary facilitator, or him and Brandon Ingram. But if neither of them play, that whole backcourt changes. JJ Redick's also questionable, so you might have a starting backcourt of Noah, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Josh Hart. And both of those guys would come into play with me. 3,100 for Noah and 5,400 for Hart. You know that they get extra minutes without those two guys. So that's or without Bledsoe and even Redick. So Bledsoe's news is going to be big for me. Unfortunately, it's at 10 o'clock, but I think we might have some word on there earlier in the day. If Bledsoe plays, I like him in the matchup for 5,800. Outside of him, Brandon Ingram has been playing great at 8,500, though, knowing that Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are probably going to be stuck on him like glue, and even Markief Morris sometimes, maybe some Batum. Those last two, the last guy not as much, but the first two definitely. I don't want to play too much Brandon Ingram. I'm probably not going to have any shares of him, but I will have some shares of Zion Williamson because I just mentioned a couple people. Markief Morris is probably the best defender that they have for him because he just is physical and he likes to fight people. But Nick Batum, who's currently starting at power forward, is too small for this guy. And I just expect Zion to start bullying his way to the paint, even though they have Serge Ibaka there. If Steven Adams plays, they're going to be fighting each other. So I'd like some Zion in this one.
I'm just imagining everyone's fighting and Zion's just like that guy that's like taking the prize and just leaving while everyone else is fighting in the background. No, I'm kind of with you on Zion. 7,300 is a fantastic price tag. And Marcus Morris, he just got fined 35 grand. It's not cool when you just pick on the dude that's like 20 years old. Like, what does he get out of bullying Zion? He gets nothing. There's no respect for him in that. When he tried to fight, no, I'm sorry, I'm mixing up the Morris brothers. Markief is the one that fought Cousins. I apologize. No, Marcus might just take a swing.
Markief,
who knows?
Cousins deserve that. He pushed him in the back.
Oh, that was like a light Cousins bump though. That was like
you don't push someone in the back. You don't push a Morris brother in the back.
If Cousins does that to you though, you're just like, all right.
The
thanks,
Twins
buddy.
are always ready to fight.
I appreciate that's all you did.
The Twins are always ready to fight. You don't do that to them.
Yeah, I'm surprised the other one just come flying out of like the locker room, like the secret Clipper hiding door that leads to the other side. What's that? The Chris Paul locker room door.
It's funny if you got the joke out, but now I'm past it. Let's move on.
All right. You're brutal. All right, so Zion 7,300, he's in play definitely. The matchup as a game script isn't fantastic. I'm surprised it's actually only a 6.5 spread. Knowing Lonzo's ruled out and Bledsoe's questionable makes me feel like Bledsoe's going to play. Hopefully the eye irritation doesn't bother him. Because I'm with it. If Bledsoe is playing with Lonzo out, he's definitely a play at 5,800. So him and Zion definitely plays for me. Noah would come into play, and I think it would make a lot more sense despite game script. If it gets out of hand, he's playing. If it stays intact and we don't have any Lonzo, he's probably playing anywhere between 18 and 20. No Lonzo or Bledsoe, he's probably playing somewhere closer to 24 to 25. And Hart should see significant minutes in this one. Hart's actually a guy that I do like in this matchup. Regardless of blowout, regardless of who plays and who doesn't play, he has a significant role. It's decent enough where I can actually see him getting some pretty decent rebound upside in this one. Feels like one of those long rebound types of games, but that's all I'm pretty much looking at. So when it comes down to it, it's going to be mostly a little bit of Zion, some Bledsoe if we hear that he is playing, and then I don't mind taking a shot at Nickeil Alexander-Walker as well as you do. So what about this Clippers side of the ball? Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, two top dogs, 97, 93. We talked about a few guys already, between Towns, between Luka. Do you find yourself playing either one of these guys?
On this type of slate, not as much. There's so much value there, and the people I like that I know in better matchups that I'm probably going to gravitate towards. Not saying that obviously these guys are playing fantastic, but I'm probably going to gravitate towards other guys here. Similar price tags. The Pelicans they're not the same Pelicans that they were under Alvin Gentry. They play a lot slower. They play more half court offense when they can, and it makes sense because they have Zion and they want to slow it down for him, and they have Zion and Steven Adams playing there. They just want to bang down low and beat people up if they can. So I don't see them running too much, especially without Lonzo there and possibly without Bledsoe. They're going to want to slow the pace down even more. Those are the two guys that get the ball and then get out in the open court and run with it. So I don't expect a super fast-paced game here. And with that said, I'm not going to look too much at Leonard and George. I really don't want too many people. If I'm not playing Leonard and George, I'm probably not going to play anybody on this team.
And that makes perfect sense. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think that this team is very well balanced outside of the two studs. If I was to play one of them, I feel like I always get this wrong between Leonard and George, but I'm gravitating more towards George as of late. 9,300 feels like a fair price tag for a guy that's usually between 40 and 50. With Leonard, we see a couple of those 30s sprinkled in here and there. We know that they both have 60-plus upside. George has been playing absolutely phenomenal. People have kind of shut up on Twitter about the whole playoff
pandemic
thing. And, pandemic P and this and that. They kind of those guys that were saying it kind of shut their mouth because he looks good. He's coming back with a vengeance, nonetheless. So I don't mind some Paul George. If I were to play anybody, he'd be the guy. And I am ready to move on to the final game: Portland versus Sacramento. This game coming in at a whopping high of the night, 236.5 game total. Portland being favored by 4. This one's going to be a plentiful game for fantasy. As far as the injury report is concerned, Yusuf Nurkic is questionable, dealing with that left quad contusion, something we're going to have to monitor. Damian Lillard probable, Zach Collins out, and Keljin Blevins has been ruled as well. For the Kings, Buddy Hield and Rashawn Holmes probable. Daquan Jeffries is out. We'll start with the away team, Portland. CJ McCollum, man. This guy, the people are asking him what was in the wine. What has he been doing? He just says it's hard work. It's work ethic, man. That's what he does. But nonetheless, this dude's putting together the best season of his career. He's absolutely on fire. I don't love that price tag. He's kind of like that Julius Randle to me, where I've been under the field on him all season long, and on those nights, more often than not, I paid the price. Shooting guard, though, going against the Kings, I say it all the time, I got to have a little interest in him. How about you?
Yeah, I think both of the backcourt guys are in play. This is easily the highest point spread of the night, even when we get the new ones, 236.5. This is they're going to be shooting, and without Jusuf Nurkic there, some of that usage is going to just go straight to the backcourt guys. So I'm going to have some of my shares of each of them, depending on how much I have left in my bank to pay up for Lillard or go McCollum. I like both of them in this matchup. And we just mentioned the Clippers. I'd rather play both these guys, both the Blazers guys and the Clippers guys. But outside of that, if Nurkic's not going to play, I'm going straight down to 4,800 Enes Kanter. I mean, the guy's playing out of his great right now, out of his mind. And then if he's going to get starters minutes, probably in the 30s, he's looking like he did last time Nurkic got hurt and he was playing on Portland. He's playing fantastic. So he's definitely in play for me if there's no Nurkic, and I don't think there will be Nurkic. And then maybe if I want to really dig down deep, if you don't think Kanter's up for 30 minutes a game, they keep him in his mid-20s type role. Harry Giles at 3K playing against his former team. That's another guy that I'll take a look at here if I'm bargain bidding, hunting. And again, playing against his former team, I like that matchup. And last time in the preseason they played against his former team, he did not hold back at all. And he went off. And something about Harry Giles that I think is hilarious. I don't know why, but every time I click on his name in DraftKings, his picture looks like it was drawn in with crayons. I don't know what the thing is, but it looks different than everybody else's.
All right, and I got to correct it. It's Giles, my good friend, Harry Giles. You used to watch baseball. Ken Giles, remember him? Same spelling. But I'm with you. I like him. I think that this is a great spot to target the guy at 3K. You're looking at him, minimum salary. If there's no Nurkic, he's probably going to be looking at least 18 to 20 minutes. Could be even more. I don't think that they just throw the whole kit and caboodle at Kanter. So I do think that Giles will definitely be in play. I do like McCollum more than George. I just mentioned both those guys. I'm thinking about it more, toss back and forth. I'd probably rather play McCollum. I don't love that price tag. I might regret saying it, but I think just with a little bit of the discount of $700, and it's a shooting guard to go in against the Kings, the hotness that this guy's been rolling with, he's probably the guy I prefer over Lillard as well. And then, like we said, if Kanter, he's definitely an option at 4,800. The dude's been a great point per minute. This just feels like it could be one of those 14, 15, 16 rebound games for Kanter if there's no Nurkic. So those are the three guys I'm really looking at. It's McCollum, it's Kanter. It's going to be a little bit of Giles if we hear that Nurkic is ruled out. I'm not going to chase the Carmelo Anthony game. He just wore a fly fit before the game. Anytime Melo wears a fly fit when he's walking into an arena, that's when you have to watch him. Those are generally, in consensus, the days that he has good games. So on the Sacramento side of the balls, though, Santino, there's got to be some people that you like.
Yeah, and a starter at the top, De'Aaron Fox. I think we mentioned a few people. I'd lean De'Aaron Fox over Shai for a couple $100 cheaper in this one. I think this is a fantastic matchup. This is two teams that want to run the ball up the court, and we know that Dame isn't the greatest defender. Neither is CJ. Neither is that entire backcourt. So I like me some Fox in this one. Outside of Fox, I mean, Halliburton is pretty solid too. At 6'3", he got to the price that I don't love it anymore. So I'm not going to have many shares of him, but I do think he has a solid matchup in this one. And Rashawn Holmes, if he's going to play again, if he plays his 30 minutes like he did last time against Enes Kanter can't really play defense. So he has the matchup advantage in this one. Though I like Enes Kanter also because what he does is score points in the paint at an efficient clip and grab rebounds. He also gives up those same things. Gives up points in the paint at an efficient clip and gives up rebounds. So I like the guy going against him in Holmes as well. Maybe I would look at Whiteside. I know, and I cringe every time I say this now, if Holmes can't play, but I expect Holmes to play, so that's just going to be nipped in the bud real quick.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of something that, I ran into on the last slate with Whiteside. I played him in a ton of GPPs. Just because, if Holmes sits, this dude, if he plays anything more than 20 minutes, he's going to crush value.
Yeah, you're not going to get 30 from him, but 22 against his former team, I mean, he's going to put up value. But again, I expect Holmes to play.
Yeah, Holmes is probable. And like you said, if Kanter is the starting center, if Nurkic's out, you got to have some interest in Holmes. I don't expect him to have another six block game. He also hit like a 35-foot 3-pointer in that last one as the shot clock was wearing down. So I don't expect all those things to necessarily happen. But nonetheless, 6,400 is a great price tag for him. Going against Kanter, that is. So either way, he's still in play. Fox at 74, I like that price tag as well. I'm with you. I'll never play Harrison Barnes. I don't care how many good games he has. I don't care if this is the best season of his career. I won't do it. I'll keep taking it off the chin. So be it.
He looks like the college Harrison Barnes right now.
I don't care, dude. Leave him there. I'm not. I just can't take Harrison Barnes. Maybe it's because I'm a Mavs fan and we had to deal with like the contract and that whole thing when he was there, and I was just like, why did we do this as a fan of the team? But nonetheless, I just can't get behind him. I just think he's so underwhelming. But I feel like he's playing well, and it's getting, I guess, how would you say it? Basically, Bagley stunk so bad that it makes Barnes look good, is what happens.
I think just Barnes looks pretty good right now. Right now, I prefaced it, or
let's keep talking
emphasize
about
the right now part.
Let's just keep trying to jinx it.
I hate Harrison Barnes too, but he looks good. I'm going to give him his credit.
Yeah, I guess he deserves it. Other than that, that's it. So I'm not. And keep in mind, Belicia kind of got bumped out of the rotation in that last one. It looks like he's kind of on the outside looking in. They're just going to keep taking the bumps and the peruses with Bagley. Obviously, if Holmes is out, we'd probably see him get a little bit more run. But looks like for most of the front court minutes are going to be Barnes, Bagley, Holmes, and Whiteside, and they're going to keep it at a 4-man rotation for the front court. So I'll look at some Fox. I'll play some Holmes if we hear that Kanter is the starting center. And that's probably about it for me. But that is it, man. We are a little over the hour mark, so a little longer than we wanted to. But, 8 games, a lot to talk about. And, we might have just wasted some people's time because who knows, half these games might not play tomorrow with the way that the NBA has been going, unfortunately. Nonetheless, thank you guys for listening. We really do appreciate it. If you have a quick moment and you could, give us a thumbs up, a rate and review, 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. We really appreciate it. It means the world to us. It sounds like the cliche thing to say during a podcast, but seriously, guys, we really do check that stuff out. And it allows us to kind of get feedback and kind of know what we need to improve, what we need to work on, and what we're doing wrong. So we do take everything seriously, and we do love the constructive criticism. So if you could do that, it would mean a lot to us. And then if you can give us a follow on Twitter, you can find me at Mike Capotria, MikeApotria. You can find Santino at Santino Caccone, SANTINOCACCONE. Give us a follow. You can ask us some questions. Hit us up on there. But I mean, realistically, if you want to get us the best way, it's up until lock in that Discord. So jump in there, grab that fancy pass. You can get the DFS pass. I didn't mention it before. If you want to just get the DFS pass, $1.99, Santino. It's less than a cup of coffee. So check that out, guys. And thank you for listening. We will be back tomorrow on this wonderful slate. I will be on, and we might have a little special guest. But nonetheless, thank you guys for listening. From everybody over here at Hoopball, DFS Today, take care, and let's go crush ourselves some slates and some GPPs.
This has been a Hoopball presentation.
Start the new year right during the Xfinity Hello 2021 sales event. For a limited time, get Xfinity Internet and mobile together for only $35 a month for 12 months with a 1-year agreement, and mobile with our 1 gig wireless data option. Plus, get $250 back. This sale ends soon, so visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Internet offer requires paperless billing and autopay. Ends 1/11/21. Restrictions apply. New performance starter plus internet customers only. Equipment taxes, regulatory recovery, and other fees extra and subject to change. After term regular rates apply. Start the new year right during the Xfinity Hello 2021 sales event. For a limited time, get Xfinity Internet and mobile together for only $35 a month for 12 months with a 1-year agreement, and mobile with our 1 gig wireless data option. Plus, get $250 back. This sale ends soon, so visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Internet offer requires paperless billing and autopay. Ends 1/11/21. Restrictions apply. New performance starter plus internet customers only. Equipment taxes, regulatory recovery, and other fees extra and subject to change. After term regular rates apply.